Subvert the dark.
So, how do you use background vocals to move an arrangement, a production of a song forward? And how do you mix them, blend them, add effects and EQ, and pan them? Well, let's take a look at how I answered those questions on my song, Singularity. I'm Keith, your home recording mentor from No Label, No Producer, No Limits.com.
Let's dive right in.
So this song is very basic, and to understand what I wanted to do in the second verse, you got to hear the first verse. My idea was to build the arrangement as I go by adding parts. It's a common idea in production and arrangement. Here is the first verse.
Janice built the spec now. I'm a nervous wreck now, though she was made for me. Janice finally here now, waited for a year now for delivery. Well, I just needed a little company, a sympathetic ear, but where do we go from here?
Okay, so that is the first verse and what I'm calling the chorus. So it's fairly basic. You notice that the chords there in what I'm calling the chorus, they're just C to D to G. It's been in a million songs. So by the time we get to the second verse, the ears are going to want something more interesting to listen to. I was laying in bed and I was thinking, well, it needs something in the second verse, and what do I do here? And I thought that C to D to G is just so simple, even a caveman would like it. And I thought, why not put caveman type lyrics in there and backup vocals? So I added an ooga part, ooga chaka.
Where do we go from here? What's that just say now? Yes, your RAM is on the way now, and your extra processing. My girl.
Completely ridiculous. Let's take a listen to this part.
Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga.
I just recorded 4 tracks, panned them left and right. They're not on any particular note, so it's more chanting, and my idea was to make it sound like a crowd of, not to put down Neanderthals, but a crowd of cavemen that are chanting. So I added some echo as well, some delay, here labeled as ooga delay. Now I'm creating this delay with Delay Machine. You could do it with any stereo delay. The salient points are that there are different delay times on the left and the right side, and they fade out at about the same time as shown here, and they're panned left and right. So you got a little bounce back going on. It's in time, essentially, with the guitar syncopation. When you're doing background vocals, it's important to have them add to the song and not interfere. And if it gets too wonky in terms of timing, it's going to take away from the syncopation. So we want this in time with the rest of the music. There's a reverb. I am using an impulse response called up in reverb, with an EQ taking out a little bit of the high end, a little bit of the low end, which is a common technique. But any reverb would do here. Here's the verb. Sounds very cave-like.
Yes, your RAM is on the way now, and your extra processing. My girl gets the best now. Upgrades and beta tests now. Whatever that means. Yeah.
Okay, so that takes care of the oogas in the second verse. Now, by the time I get to the second chorus, I think that needs a little ear candy too. And, you know, I don't want to interfere with the melody or the lyrics of the lead, and what better to do that with than ahs or oohs or ohs. So I added some ahs in there. Basically, I'm just singing a chord. Let's take a listen.
Grades and beta tests now, whatever that means. Yeah. I know you want something more than this life. I'll do the best I can for a stranger in a strange land.
Let's take a listen to those on their own. Now, I recorded 3 parts. I recorded a low, a mid, and a high. And then I doubled them up. I recorded them twice and panned them left and right. So each note has a left and a right side. And here they all are together. Now let's talk a little bit about effects and EQ. I EQ'd them about like this. There's some low end taken out and some presence added. It's going to depend on your microphone how you EQ, but it's a fairly airy sound. That's what I'm looking for, and that's why the high boost. I don't need this low end. It's just going to get lost in the guitars and muddy up the lead vocal as well, so I rolled that out some. Now, I also have this channel on here called Spread. And in that, I create some stereo spread for these vocals by doing the following. I have a channel time delayer with 30 milliseconds delayed on the left side and 20 milliseconds on the right side. So that's going to make it sound like there are more people singing. Let me take that off and you can hear it. I'll take off all the effects. Okay, so that's the stereo spread, and after the stereo spread, I have a pitch shifter. So I'm shifting the left side down 6 cents, 6/100ths of a semitone, and I'm shifting the right side up 6 cents. So that just gives us a little bit of spread across the pitch spectrum so that everything is not on the nose. Not that I sang it on the nose anyway. Then I have some reverb. Any reverb will do. I'm using Lexicon from Toucan, which is modeled on a famous Lexicon reverb, and a little EQ to take out the extra highs and some of the lows, and little sort of ringing I heard in there as well. And a stereo delay, again, with different timing on each side and fading out at about the same point. So how do I mix these in? Well, the spread is just barely in there. Let me show you. It's just audible. I have just a touch of reverb, just to give it a little sense of space and a little bit of delay. I'm also feeding the delay back into the reverb. And finally, I have all these ahs bussed into a master, and I've got a bus compressor here just to even things out a little bit. Just to keep them nice and consistent. And the secret weapon, a phaser, a stereo phaser on this signal, and you'll hear how this gives it a little bit of shift. I'll turn it on and off. And by the way, it's set at about 18%, so just a touch of this here. See how it just shifts around there, and here it is all again, once again.
Yeah, I know you want something more than this life. I'll do the best I can for a stranger in a strange land.
Okay, let's talk about how I came up with the notes for this background harmony ah part. So when I came up with this part, I just started off by singing a note that I liked, which was this G, and then an F sharp, and then a G. Now, these notes happen to be in the chord. A C chord, the first chord there, has a G in it. And then the D chord is next, that has an F sharp in it. And then, of course, a G has a G in it. And then I just added a third, a major third here, minor third, major third. And then I just, on the third note, decided to hold a D. Because that D is coming. It's not in the C chord initially, but it comes in both the D and the G. So I'm essentially singing a G chord, a D chord, and a G chord. Now what's interesting to me about this, and I didn't think of this as I was coming up with the harmonies, it just happened, is that I'm singing a G, but I'm playing a C underneath it. And so it's pretty harmonically interesting. It ends up something like this. And that has a little bit of a suspended feel to it, a tension feel to it, and then it resolves. So that keeps it harmonically interesting to me. And like I said, I didn't plan this from a music theory standpoint, but it sort of ended up that way. So, and it doesn't sound odd to me, it sounds right. So once again, if you listen to that first chord, it has a little bit of tension in it between the background vocals and the chords.
I know you want something more than this life. I'll do the best I can for a stranger in a strange land.
Okay, let's take it to the bridge. So when I wrote the chords to the bridge, I came up with this melody. It just occurred to me.
I see the spark.
It has that sort of Middle Eastern harmonic minor kind of flavor to it. And I immediately heard sort of an echo of that vocal. Let's see if I can find that one.
I see the spark. I see the spark.
So that's what I heard, and that's what I sang. Now I also decided to add some background harmonies here, starting with the word spark, and then along with the little trill there.
The spark.
So those three go together. And then I added some harmonies to the echo as well.
The spark. I see the spark.
Let's see what they are one by one. That's just a drone note high. Oh, this one mimics the vocal for the first note and the second note, but then drops down instead of going up. So here's what we have here.
I see the spark. I see the spark.
Let's listen to that in context.
For a stranger in a strange land. I see the spark.
The next line is subvert the dark. And what I knew I was going to do on this part was, well, this is a transition part. We go from half-time snare to double-time hi-hat and regular time snare. And then we are into a funky part all of a sudden. It's a complete change-up. So I wanted to hold something across that change-up. For one, to create a segue, but for two, to create some sort of tension. So in my mind, I figured I was going to hold a chord vocally, maybe a suspended fourth or an add 9 chord that would create tension, and then resolve it after we got through the transition. So let me show you what I came up with.
Subvert the dark.
And here it is in context.
Subvert
now we're into the funky part, and those vocals have acted as a transition across those parts. Now, honestly, I don't know what notes I'm singing. I just sang different notes, tried a bunch out until I found what I was looking for, that feeling of tension and transition across these chord changes. So here are the parts one by one. Here's the word dark, the mid-range note pan to the right. I believe this is the same note pan to the left. So I sang that one twice. Let's see what we have here. This is the low, an octave of that part perhaps. This one has some effects on it. Let's see. I suspect I pitch corrected it. Yeah, I pitch corrected these low notes. I pitch corrected 3 of these. Very difficult to maintain a note that low evenly. What do we have here? This is another one of the low sounds. And then we have some high sounds also panned away from each other. And this one is at least is pitch corrected. So, all together. And once again, in context.
Stranger in a strange land. I see the smoke. I feel the subvert the dark.
And there we're into a funky instrumental section. Now, what did I do with the rest of the song in terms of background vocals? Well, not a whole lot. It's pretty much more the same. I do come out of an instrumental section into a guitar solo, and that guitar solo has the Oz in it. I am, in fact, the Wizard of Oz. Here they are, and because it's been about a minute since they've been in the song, they sound familiar to you. Okay, for the last verse, back with the ugas, and then a double chorus out. Now, I could have done something additional with the Oz in the last 2 choruses, especially the last chorus. I didn't feel it was needed, but that certainly would have been a valid artistic choice. If you want to get better at home recording, or you're just starting off home recording, and you want to get better fast, a mentorship is the way to do that. I've put together a program called the Home Recording Mentorship Program, and there's information below the video. Now, this takes a song from the initial idea, how to capture it, how to move to the DAW, set the tempo, create scratch drum tracks and guitars, basses, keyboards, finish everything up, including mixing, all the way through the finished song. And that's the Home Recording Mentorship Program, and it has a mentorship aspect to it as well. Check out the information below the video, and we'll see you there in the course. Let's take a listen to the song as a whole with all the background vocals in it. And I'll see you next time. I'm your home recording mentor, Keith, from No Label, No Producer, NoLimits.com. Enjoy the song.
Janice built the spec now. I'm under this wreck now, though she was made for me. Janice fine. right here, but where do we go from here? What's that? That just say now. Yes, your RAM is on the way now, and your extra processing. My girl gets the best now. Her upgrades and beta tests now. Whatever that means. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know you want something more than this life. I'll do the best I can for a stranger